everybody kind of made a big deal of that, which is a frequent thing with the Twins, like the we're different as an organization kind of, and that has been true. It's not just something they talk about, but like the idea of, you go to spring training and, all the ex-twins are there. Johan's there,
Yes.
Tori's there, Kadyr's
Yes.
there, Morno's there, all that stuff. And it was a pretty good showing in that. I mean, anytime you can get Tom Kelly there, and Shelton actually shouted out Kelly like within minutes of the press conference
Yeah.
starting, and how kind of choked up he was just to see him at his press conference, basically, and how big a deal that was. And they definitely made a big deal about that, about like the it's unique to the Twins that they're different from other organizations in terms of how much the alumni care and they feel connected even after long retiring. And I was thinking about that, and it's definitely
And that is
true,
something they've tried to lean into even more so
definitely.
underneath Falvey. Right.
But what I was thinking about is like it's really largely the 87 and 91 teams because every year there's some ceremony and honoring them or
Sure.
inducting one of them or something like that. And so I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but they're constantly mentioned, constantly around, all that stuff. And then it's the early 2000s Gardenhire teams, which is like the Koski and like I said, LaTroy Hawkins was there and everything. That's great. It's great to see those guys. But I wonder if the Twins realize or care or know the effect of that they've sort of, it's not that they've lost that because they've de-emphasized it, because like you said, they certainly are
Right.
very much enjoying it, but you lose it through losing, right? Like
Right.
you lose
Yeah.
it because there isn't a core that has kind of remained in place and grown together. I would say since kind of the Bomba squad was kind of the end of that core. I would say like the
Sure.
obviously you
Well,
still have Buxton, but
right.
like the Rosario, Barrios, Sano, Kepler type of guys. And it's not that those guys obviously they can come back and be part of the mix 10 years from now or whatever, but it feels like you've sort of created a situation where that's going to be harder to maintain for like the next group because there wasn't anything sort of to latch onto for that. Do you know what I
You
mean?
mean there
Like,
wasn't a big postseason success or a postseason run
yeah,
sort of thing?
or and the early Guardy teams didn't have that either.
Right.
But what they did have is they just won a load of division titles over the
Right.
course of 10
Yeah.
years with, I would say one to two core elements there. And, maybe I'm playing this up, but it was interesting, like looking around and hearing Fulvey and Shelton. We're going to be using last names now because I realized that calling
Yes.
someone Derek has been ruined forever, basically.
Yeah, that was apparent during the press conference
Yeah.
several times. Yes.
But yeah, just, looking around and being like, well, okay, 10 years from now, hopefully neither of us are there, but 10 years from now, what would the alumni be? Like, okay, Buxton maybe or something like that, but it's like there isn't a core group that has, to your point, either had a great playoff run like 87, 91, or kind of been together for 8 years solid and won four division titles or five division titles. And I was thinking as they talked up how important that was and how that sets the Twins apart from other organizations, which I agree with. It's great. But I wonder if they've lost it, but they don't know it yet because you
Yeah.
haven't
Right.
seen that group retire and come back and all
I,
that.
I take a look at it, and what I think is what you've. It's not that they're not going to stay in touch with those players, or those players aren't going to stay in touch with each other, which is part of what Shelton was talking about. Like how cool it is to have a
Right.
text string of all these ex players that still care about the team and still want to talk about the team, right? What you're really kind of missing or in danger of messing up is a generation of fans that feel connected to
Right.
those players, right? That, you know, you've got certainly the 87 and 91s have a generation of fans that feel connected given the fact that they had the great success. Now, and I think you're right. The 2003 to or 2002 to 2010 run with Gardenhire definitely ushered in a generation of fans. We were real appreciative of the fact that they ushered in a generation of fans because we were started writing about 2002, and I think a lot of the people who started reading us at that time became a generation of fans for that, and they were on the verge of that, or they were. I mean, they did a little of that between 2019 and 2023. In 2023, they won a couple of games. Like you definitely ran into people who were like, "Wow, that was great," and I think that even stands out more boldly, or more. The contrast is even more clear when you see the postseason as it was this year. The postseason was just so exciting, and you've got all kinds of. You just keep hearing from people who are like, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of a baseball fan, but my God, what a postseason!
Right.
You know, like this is what baseball can be, and you don't necessarily get a taste of that through 162 games. You kind of go in and out of it. Not every game means as much. Not every pitch means as much, etc. And then you watch a postseason like you saw over the last month, where games are going 18 innings, or there are four tiny plays where the details really matter and can win or lose a game or something, and you get a sense of how people can be invested in that. And what I think there's going to still have those connections to the players. Those players are still going to have the connections to themselves. Those players are still going to have the connections to the team. But I'm not sure that there's a fan group that is going to rally around a group of players like that. And that's because the fan group is somewhat turned off, and not by the players, but by
Right.
the attitude that the organization seemingly has towards the players and towards the fans. And welcome to the end of this video. There's lots more. For another, just click on one of these boxes.
Or click on this circle in the middle to subscribe to all of our Twins Talk.
Thank you.